Hello everyone, my name is Norman. Welcome to another episode of the fourth period, and the Vancouver Canucks are in big trouble. We'll get into that at the end of the video though, but before we start the video, if this is your type of content, if you enjoy the NHL, if you are looking for more content on YouTube, please make sure you drop the video a like, please make sure you subscribe, and without any further ado, let's get right into it. So there were quite a few games tonight. There were 4 puck drops at the same time, so I decided to go with the Bruins versus the Flyers. While I could have gone for Winnipeg against Ottawa, I could have gone for um, New Jersey Devils versus the New York Islanders. I could have chosen any game, and I chose the Bruins versus the Flyers. Now, it 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 certainly was more entertaining than the Oilers versus the Leafs, but not by a big margin. So the first 2 periods were absolutely horrendous. The second period, especially, even though the Flyers managed to score 2 goals. Sorry, the shots were 7-4 in the second period. In the first period, those shots were 14-3 for the Bruins. It wasn't good hockey to watch, and it's very clear as day that the Bruins are missing David Pastrnak, and at the back they are missing a guy like Torrey Krug. They are missing the leadership of Zdeno Chara at the back. Will they recover from it eventually as the season goes on? Yes, as David Pastrnak comes back, as the team gets acquainted even better, the new lines have played more, they'll be fine, absolutely. But so far it's been a bore fest. It hasn't been good. And the only real talking point about this game was the third period, where the Bruins absolutely mounted a comeback with goals from DeBrusque, I think, with goals from Studnicka, with an absolute rocket from the OV spot on a slapper one time by Carlo. And then the comeback again by the Flyers with a goal from Travis Sanheim. It wasn't a good game, except for the third period, which was actually quite entertaining. But the big talking point about this game is how the East Division really hasn't got anyone standing out so far. I vastly underestimated the New York Islanders. I completely agree. I underestimated the New Jersey Devils. But there isn't a team that is really putting their mark on that division, saying, we are going to win this division. We are running away with it. We are going to dominate this. No, the Capitals one day look good, then the other day they look absolutely terrible, as do the Penguins. The Flyers one day win 6-3, the next day they lose 6-1 against Buffalo. In here, the Bruins can't manage to score 5-on-5. Then they mount a comeback in the third here. The Rangers get shut out twice against Semyon Varlamov. Or once, I don't remember. Have the Rangers and the Islanders played 3 times already? I know they got shut out once and they won and they lost another time with Sorokin in goal, but I can't quite remember. No, they won that one with Sorokin, right? Yes, they did. Sorry, exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is there's no team really standing out, but all the teams in the division have good nights, then they have bad nights, and I think, though, as the season goes on, it will balance out and we'll see the teams with more talent go out on top. But the hockey on display hasn't really been great in quite a few games so far this season. It's been a bit disappointing, but yeah, I guess those nights will happen. The Bruins finally get a win and score 5-on-5. Do they build on from here? I think they will. I think they are bound to build on from here. Is the Bruins. They still have an incredibly talented team. They have Bergeron, Marchand, who can dominate any team going forward. They have very good defensive core. Charlie McAvoy, I think, is one of the better defensemen in the league. They have Tuukka Rask in net. You can never discount Tuukka Rask. And as for the Flyers, it's going to be a very up and down season. As I said, you win against the Penguins by a big margin, then you lose against the Buffalo Sabres by a big margin. Now you are up 2-0, then you end up losing in overtime. It's not a great look, but it is what it is. Next up, Colorado and LA. And I was quite excited for Colorado because Bowen Byram was finally in the lineup. And he wasn't just in the lineup, he was paired up with Gale Makar, which is filthy. The starting five for Colorado tonight were Makar, Byram, Nathan McKinnon, Rantanen, and Gabe Landeskog, which, what a starting five that is. Now, Hunter Miska was in goal for Colorado. I didn't actually look up why it wasn't Francois or Grubauer. And let's just say that Miska is definitely a more competent backup than Michael Hutchinson was. And Colorado just didn't have a great game. LA didn't have a great game either, but it was very balanced out. The first period for Colorado was excellent. They got quite a few power plays. Rantanen scores on a filthy play by Nathan McKinnon. He just guts and carves through the defense with the ease of a capital invader. He gets it to Rantanen. Rantanen converts, and then on the power play to end the first, McKinnon on left hand side of the ice gets the puck. He cuts in, bottom corner. It's 2-0. And I'm thinking, well, it's LA. LA is bound to crumble. They don't have a great team. Yes, they have some good young players. They still have Kopitar, which is a great player. They have Doughty, which he has regressed, but on his day, he's still an excellent player. And it would show because from there on, really, the game was all for LA. The problem I have though, I could go through it and go play by play, in that LA scores and then LA scores again, and this happens, and LA scores a third goal, and then on the and Lizotte turns the dagger on an empty net with 4-2. But I'm not going to do it. I think the talking points for both teams, Colorado, again, as we've seen, they lose the first one against the St. Louis Blues, then they win 8-0 with ease. Now, again, they win against the Kings, then they lose against the Kings. I think it just takes a bit of time to get back into the groove, which is the same for all teams. So it's not like I am treating the Bruins and the Flyers differently or any other team. Every team needs to get back into the groove. But in a division where Vegas is not likely to lose a lot of games, if Colorado wants to finish on top of that division, they have to get their act together very soon. I think they will, though. Their talent at hand is just too great. It's far too great and insurmountable for many teams to struggle throughout the season. And it just wasn't their night. However, that's not to take anything away from LA. So LA, not a great first period, obviously, but from there on, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. So when you look at the stats here, Anze Kopitar for assists is leading the NHL along with Jack Eichel and Quinn Hughes. Now, people are saying Anze Kopitar, huge contract, it's not going to age well, and I would be inclined to agree. And don't get me wrong, Anze Kopitar is actually one of my favorite players in the NHL today, probably in my top 3, maybe in my top 2, along with Alex Ovechkin. But he is leading that team by example, and I think the young guys like Lizotte, Field, like Alex Turcotte, like Artur Kaliev, those are a lot of names that I'm rattling off already with huge potential, and learning from guys like Anze Kopitar is going to do them a world of good. They're going to benefit so much from it. Now, the debate among LA Kings fans is, do we try and build on the squad that we have now, or do we tank another year? We hope to get a high draft pick, and then we see how it goes next year. Now, you can fall into a vicious circle and a vicious trap by tanking, obviously, because if you tank every year, the young players that were drafted 2-3 years ago, they all went out, and their development has been for nothing, and so on and so forth. But I think for LA, you might need just one guy. Now at the back, Jonathan Quick, he's over the hill. Cal Peterson, I think is a good starter. Not a great starter, but he's a good starter, solid. However, if he wasn't playing, it was Jonathan Quick at the back. At the back now, that's a different story. You've got Doughty, and then even still, you've got Jeff Carter, you've got Dustin Brown. How much can LA do with these guys? I don't know. I honestly don't know. However, LA got the win, and it shows that LA still has a bit of magic left in their team. Now, playoffs, absolutely not. Challenging for playoffs, not even, no. But they are creating a more entertaining division than I'd hoped they would. And it can only be good for hockey. Now, elsewhere. Right. Tampa Bay obviously beat Columbus Blue Jackets 3-2 in overtime. The Pierre-Luc Dubois thing and Tortorella, right? Dubois, yes, his shift wasn't great. And John Tortorella, man, if I was an NHL player, I would not want to play under John Tortorella. It just, I wouldn't be motivated. And maybe Pierre-Luc Dubois has the same. Now, is it damaging his trade value? Yes. Is he doing himself any favors? No. So it goes both ways. Am I going to make a video about that separately? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe. If I can find the time, maybe. But we'll see where that goes to. Now, Vancouver versus Montreal. Montreal 7, Vancouver Canucks 3. Where to begin? We knew Vancouver wouldn't have a great season after their off season. They'd lost Markstrom, they had lost Christopher Tanev. They've lost Tyler Toffoli to the Habs. Are those huge losses? They're not huge losses. I think Markstrom is though. Markstrom is a huge loss. Are they big losses though? Yes, and that shows. Now, Vancouver still surprisingly has Bo Horvat, who is amongst the leaders in the points scored in the NHL so far with 7. So he's up there with McKinnon, with Stones, with Hayes, and Quinn Hughes 6 assists. He's up there in assists, one along with Andrew Kopitar, and just one less than the leading point scorer. But Elias Pettersson hasn't had a good season. JT Miller, 5 assists as well. So he hasn't really dropped off a lot since last season. Brock Besser though. So see that's the point. You have these. How do I explain this? Because I'm just saying names now. You have all these great players, but they don't form a great team. And that can be attributed to the loss that the Vancouver Canucks have experienced over the offseason. It can be attributed to maybe a new playing style or new tactics or whatever they're trying to do. But it's not working. It is not working. Thatcher Demko and Braden Holtby in goal. Braden Holtby, last year, I don't want to hate on the guy because I think he's been a great goalie in the NHL, but last year, he wasn't good. He just wasn't good, in my opinion. And I know this game was Demko, but when we have seen Holtby for Vancouver, he hasn't picked up. He hasn't picked himself up. Demko has been shady at times. Vancouver just doesn't look like a team. I don't know if they're playing again soon. I am going to take a look at that now. So they are... Yeah, they are playing again. The next game is against each other. Now, do I think Vancouver can win that one? Yeah, they can. Will they? It's a different story. Now, the problem with Vancouver mostly is the lines. There's no cohesion. And Montreal, I have underestimated them. I apologize to Habs fans. Will this continue though for both teams? Will this continue? No. I don't think so. Montreal is going to have bad games. They're going to have a bad patch. I think every team is going to have a bad patch, obviously. And this is Vancouver's bad patch. They will pick themselves up. The extent to which damage is done, now that's an interesting part. Does Vancouver go on to really play brilliant hockey from there on, or are they too damaged because of losses like these? And it's not just one game, it's like these. It's more than one. I think they will feel the damage throughout the season. Montreal, yes, they scored a lot, but still conceding 3 goals. We'll see. This wasn't a great episode of the fourth period, I must admit, because I usually write notes for these games, and the notes that I had were gone, and the things I can remember, it's so hazy because so much happened, and there's so many defaults and faults in the Vancouver Canucks, and so many positives, but also so many negatives for the Montreal Canadiens. So I just think it will balance itself out. But anyway, if you have enjoyed this video, and if you've made it this far, which I would honestly be surprised, thank you very much for watching. If you have liked the video, please like the video. If you enjoy what I do on this channel, if you want more NHL content, please consider subscribing. And I will talk to you very soon. My name is Norman. Thank you very much again. Goodbye.